An update now to our I-Team investigation, rodent residential. Right now, you are looking live at the Hilltop Village Apartments. It's in Northwest Jacksonville, where our investigation uncovered people living in apartments filled with mice, unsafe living conditions. Now, the city of Jacksonville has agreed to spend $140,000 to help some tenants who live here move out. Now, we first showed you the problem, you remember, back in April. We found mice in dresser drawers and trash cans. Video given to us by tenants living there who say this has been a problem for months, if not years. Joining me this morning is City Councilwoman Ju'Coby Pittman. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good morning.
And for perspective for our viewers who may not have been following this as closely as we have, you represent the district in which Hilltop is located.
Correct.
And as a result, you have been involved from the very beginning. As soon as I reached out to you and revealing what we had uncovered. Let's talk a little bit about the emergency legislation that you got passed by the full council last night. It's basically allotting a cachet of money that is available to these tenants. How can tenants, gain access to this money so they can move out? How will they be selected?
So first of all, I want to thank the Social Justice Committee for allowing this emergency appropriation for these women. The way we're identifying is that we're working with the Jacksonville code enforcement officers to make sure that we're building a case. There's been several violations in those apartments. So we want to make sure that we take those families out that have medical issues that we are aware of. After we get those families out, then it'll be the next wave. Basically, it will pay for deposits, first and last month's rent, moving expenses, those essential things that they don't have money for. We're hoping that the management company will do the right thing because they're aware of what's going on, Cambridge Management Company, and they will move these residents to other properties that is not rat infested or rodent infested.
And it's interesting because Cambridge, as we know, manages a number of properties here locally, is owned by SP Hilltop LLC, which owns several, similar HUD communities in the area.
Correct.
So that said, for tenants who are watching and are saying, okay, this applies to me, I've been sickened by these living conditions, do they call? And I know that this is early in the process because this isn't just about making a complaint. There has to be a proven complaint of problems within the apartment.
Correct. Medical conditions from your doctor, one, that there are problems. We know that there is mold in several of the apartments, but we have a list of conditions in these apartments, children with upper respiratory conditions, asthma. There are a few people who have cancer, and so we want to get them out first. Two of the residents came last night and spoke at City Council, and it resonated with the council members, and they were happy to do this. And I'm just excited that it's an opportunity for them to move out and to make HUD accountable. They need to come back. June 30th is the day that the management company at Hilltop has to comply with all of the things that code enforcement as well as HUD. They're coming out with a REACT report, and that's what we're waiting on.
And for perspective on the REACT reports, so the reality is that, as we also uncovered in one of our stories, is that as part of the agreement with the landlord that has with the government to provide low-income housing to those people who just aren't able to afford regular rent payments, that landlord has to provide a safe living condition.
Absolutely.
And as a result, an inspection then must be done by HUD to make sure that they're keeping up with their part of the deal, right?
Absolutely.
And so what we did learn is that in 2017, HUD was supposed to go out there and inspect the apartments and failed to do so.
Correct.
As a result of our stories and your pushing, they did then come out. That REACT score, would you kind of explain why that's so important in terms of how the government makes decisions about giving money to these kinds of landlords if they're not keeping up with their end of the deal?
Well, in reality, they're given this money in good faith to keep the apartment safe. There hasn't been inspection done, so they didn't know what was inside of the apartment. And unfortunately, they have been out there since you've done the story, but now we're waiting for that report to make sure that Cambridge has corrected some of those incompliances that needed to be done. So now they will come back to make sure that those items have been done If not, I think they will take the funding away from them. And we hope that they do if they're not in compliance, because these women and families have been living in a horrible conditions. The mental anguish that they've gone through, it is unacceptable. And so if you're given money to take care of these families, then you need to be doing that. And HUD, you need to make sure if it's not done, you need to take their money away from them. And someone who wants to be there and make sure quality life is provided to these families, that's what needs to be done. And right now, that's not happening.
And it is bureaucratic red tape sometimes.
Oh, it
HUD,
is.
But it's about pushing. You're doing that. We're doing that. The mayor, I spoke with him yesterday. We'll have a story on actually later today, is doing the same. So let's hope then that with all of this push, that the property manager and the landlord will end up doing the right thing. Ju'Coby, thanks for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for breaking the story.
Anything we can do to help our viewers, without a doubt. So it is, let's see, it's 13 minutes after 8 o'clock, Vic.